This video is sponsored by my day job. All views and opinions are my own. Likes and subs are appreciated, but don't hit the notification button. Does anybody actually even do that? Seems annoying. Don't do that. So during Summer Game Fest, they announced and released the Liza P demo. Of course I was going to check this thing out. Being yet another Soulsbourne game, not really sure this is the kind of thing for me. What? That doesn't mean it won't be for you though. Let's get into it. Welcome back to JBG. Today we're looking at the Liza P demo on PS5. So after playing through some of the demo, I doubt I'll be picking this up right away. What? It's not even really a Soulsbourne or Souls-like. I'd say it's more like a Borne-like. And that's why I'll probably wait for it to go on sale if I even do pick it up.
What the f***? Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more times.
This doesn't mean it's bad. Bloodborne just never struck a chord with me the way Elden Ring or Dark Souls 2 or 3 did. Seeing as there aren't many Bloodborne inspirations out there though, this could be right up your alley if you're a fan. Remember, all this is based on a demo too. I'm sure the main mechanics will be the same, but you never really know with a demo. The story is a darker take on the Pinocchio fairy tale. Puppets are coming to life and killing everyone around them. You also come to life and basically you're looking for Geppetto to get some answers on what's going on. Like any Souls game, it starts pretty vague and it trickle feeds the story at the beginning. This may run different in the retail release than the demo, but from the demo it still feels like it'll be a lot more straightforward of a story than a normal FromSoft game. For what seems to be a AA tribute to Bloodborne, the aesthetics here are great. This is a good looking game and the atmosphere is such a good fit for the spin they're putting on the Pinocchio story. One gripe I have is they flat out copied From Software's approach to lip syncing their character models.
Elysian Boulevard. And he never came back.
I don't know why this always bugs me so bad. I hate this worse than just bad lip sync. This is just zero effort put in and it just gets to me. I know it's just a demo. I have to keep saying it. But for the demo, I found zero performance issues. Most console launches are pretty solid in this aspect, so this may not be saying much. It could follow the trend with PC launches being unplayable, but it played amazing for the vertical slice we got here. The mechanics are why I call this a Borne-like instead of a Souls-like, with a few small twists. But it's still kind of why it's not for me. You choose between a strength, dex, or balanced starting build. Stats are almost identical to Souls games. Weapons are going to scale with attributes in the same sense Souls games do. Ergo is your souls, stargazers are your bonfires. You have your basic light and heavy attacks tied to the R1 and R2, with a charge attack all tied to the stamina bar. You have consumables in your belt slots that are selectable with up and down, tied to the square button for use. A change to this is they threw in you also have 4 quick slots too. I really like this since we all know how cumbersome flipping through 8 things with the down button gets when you're in the middle of a fight. That's not where the changes stop either. You have what's called a Legion arm tied to the L2. You can swap out your Legion arm for different abilities. The basics here are a power strike or a scorpion type spear attack. Triangles tied to your Fable Arts, which is basically like Weapon Art or Ashes of War. But this is tied to the bars underneath your stamina that charge while attacking enemies. Your Estus here is called a Pulse Cell. Of course you have limited uses in between recharges at Stargazers, your bonfires. But you can refill one Pulse Cell through attacking enemies. It doesn't seem like you'll be banking them here like Vials and Bloodborne though. So it's not as dire as Souls games if you use the last one, you aren't in as bad of a spot, and you can refill one pretty easily on the cannon fodder enemies if you're pretty careful. Your weapon has a durability gauge in the bottom right, and your mechanical arm has a grinder on it to sharpen it and refill the durability. I'm sure this may play a more integral role later with the durability of weapons, but it seemed kind of gimmicky on the starting weapons. They didn't really seem to lose durability to a degree that you just can't grind it back up after every fight, and I didn't find any limitation on use. Your outfit changes seem to be only cosmetic, as you have defensive parts that can change your defensive stats. I really only found a few different rings and not much else, so I'm not sure how deep this goes. But I would assume it'll expand through the game to match build diversity like any other Souls game. You level up at all the Stargazers at the beginning, up until the point where you meet Sophia. She's basically your firekeeper, so you'll need to travel back to her to level up going forward, at least in the demo. Pretty much the same as traveling back to Firelink Shrine to level up. So of course, what everyone wants to know, how's the combat feel? So like so much else here, it's really close to Bloodborne, which is kind of why I just can't get into it. A lot of it I'm sure I could adapt to, but I have to be in a certain mood to even play a Souls game, hence why Dark Souls 2 has been sitting for 4 months waiting for me to finish the last few hours of it. Like Bloodborne, when you lock on, you have a quick step, and unlocked, you have a roll. Even knowing this, I would still be expecting a roll, and I would just quick step, often leading me directly into damage. This actually got me rocked in the first boss fight. I limped past him on the third try, but it just wouldn't click for me. I did notice certain times there's the same kind of health recovery after taking a hit and re-attacking, the same mechanic as in Bloodborne, but I never really got the hang of it in Bloodborne either. I will say everything feels surprisingly tight here. Steel Rising had some gripes from people saying the combat just felt off, kind of floaty. I can't say that here. I just never adapted to the Bloodborne style, but it wasn't as if the game wasn't reacting. I had a ton of trouble with ranging attacks too, and just botching them, thinking I was close enough. Another thing I'm sure would work itself out with enough time, and not really faulty hitboxes or laggy controls. I did have a few questionable hitboxes on the first boss, but nothing to a point where it felt like I was getting ripped off. Like I said, it only took me 3 tries, so obviously it's doable. Even the ganks don't feel overwhelming like in Dark Souls 2. I did find it a lot easier to fight unlock though, probably because of the roll instead of the quick step. And I'm pretty sure there's a soft lock in place. I didn't really dig into the menus to see if there was a selection for it though. It just seemed like the game predicted the direction of attack after a roll to the closest enemy. I didn't see too many wild post-roll swings the way you get attacking immediately after a roll in like Dark Souls 2. And like most Souls games, there isn't much action canceling either. You have to commit to every strike or dodge, and keep your actions intentional. Everything controls the way you would expect here. Like I said, it's a cool spin on a fairy tale story. The visuals look amazing, and the performance was on point. The controls feel responsive, and it follows the deliberate combat style FromSoft made popular. To me, it just feels too much like Bloodborne. I've never found the drive to adapt to the subtle differences there from the Dark Souls games. But that's also why I would 100% recommend anyone who loved Bloodborne to check out Lies of P. At least download the demo. I personally think this is the spiritual successor to Bloodborne that fans have been waiting for this whole time. Until next time.
You will die nameless. What?
Toodaloo, motherfucker. Hey.